Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Wester Worry. I'm the Chief of Staff for the City of Rockford, and it's my honor to join you again today to serve as the MC for this year's virtual rally for mental illness. I'm going to just wait about another minute or so just to make sure everybody is on this webinar virtual call, and then we will get started. Okay, we'll give it another few seconds and then we will begin our program. Okay, well, I think we will go ahead and get started. And once again, just if you're just joining us now, I'm going to introduce myself again. I'm Wester Worry. I'm the Chief of Staff for the City of Rockford, and it's really my honor to join you again today to serve as the MC for this year's virtual rally for mental illness. If you were in attendance last year at Memorial Hall, you know what an inspiring event this really is, and I don't think anybody could have predicted that we would all be sitting in front of computers and tablets and laptops. But I think it also speaks to just the resiliency of our society and how we're kind of adapting to all these new procedures and using technology. So for everyone who's on here today, just really appreciate you having an interest in this important event, and you're really going to, I think, be inspired and educated and hear some pretty incredible stories. So I want to get started just to give you a little bit of background. Mental Health Awareness Week was established by Congress in 1990, so about 30 years ago. To recognize efforts by the National Alliance on Mental Illness to educate and increase awareness about mental illness. Each year, millions of Americans face the reality of living with a mental health condition. It's about as many as 1 in 5 adults have a mental health condition or a mental illness. However, mental illness affects everyone directly or indirectly. We all have family or friends or coworkers who live with us every day. And despite the reach of mental illness and its prevalence, the stigma and misunderstanding are also widespread. And that's why this year and each year during the first week of October, NAMI and participants across the country raise awareness of mental illness. They educate the public, they fight that stigma, and they provide support. And each year the movement grows stronger. As somebody in my position and in my career who's really watched the media and just seeing how things are covered from year to year, can definitely attest to the level of, I think, awareness and understanding and destigmatizing is definitely improved. We have a long way to go, but I think we have definitely made progress. And it's events like this that really help do that. So I think it's exciting to see that progress year over year. Now, this year, with so much hitting our society at one time, not the least of which is a global pandemic, it's really incredibly important to continue to shine the light upon mental illness and the importance of improving our mental health. We know that due to the pandemic, I think we're seeing a lot of media coverage and we're seeing a lot of research come out that people are struggling for sure in all aspects of our society. And so again, an event like today is perhaps even more important than it might have been last year. So really have an exciting and uplifting program planned for today. But to get us started, I want to welcome Attorney David Gill, who is President of the Board of Directors of NAMI Northern Illinois, and really appreciate all of his involvement and the things he does for the community. So David, I will turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Wester. Again, my name's David Gill. I'm the current President of NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness for Northern Illinois. And for the last 40 years, NAMI Northern Illinois has been a grassroots community-based effort to offer support, education, advocacy, and hope to those affected by mental illness. And while we're largely supported by volunteers. We've also had a wonderful association over the last several years with Stepping Stones of Rockford, which offers us office space and logistical support, as well as our executive director, Danielle Angelieri, for which Mental Illness Awareness Week and any other project or endeavor that we would want to undertake wouldn't be possible without her care and dedication to the cause surrounding mental illness. And I thank her for everything that she's done to put together this program today. And as Wester mentioned, the pandemic has not helped mental illness, the cause for mental health at all. It has actually caused, to a large extent, a delay in treatment for folks. It has elevated stress. It has certainly caused isolation. And with those factors and many others, we have seen a declining mental health within our community. And to put it into some perspective, while the current numbers are that about 8% of our surrounding community is infected with COVID-19, as Wester pointed out earlier, 20% of our community deals with mental illness on a regular basis. And not only those that are suffering from it or directly affected by it, but all of those that are indirectly affected by it, by family, friends, coworkers, etc. And none of that is helped in part by what's going on in our community lately, where we've had some apathetic corporate healthcare showing no mercy by choosing profit over physical and mental wellness, and denying people the care that they need and pushing it off onto others, and leaving people that are affected by mental illness to their own wherewithal to find their help. It's atrocious as to what's happened recently, and I know that we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about the positive pieces to it. So I just ask you this, that while you're washing your hands and wearing your mask and keeping yourself healthy, that you also consider opening your ears, opening your heart, opening your arms to those who are in distress, because they need your help to find the hope and the motivation to find the mental wellness that they so rightly deserve. So I hope that this is our first and last total virtual rally surrounding mental illness, and I hope and I pray that we get back to in-person rallies very soon. But I thank you all for taking the time and the effort to visit us today, and I will turn it back to Wester. Thank you.
Well, thank you, David. And, just really on behalf of the community, thank you for your leadership of NAMI. You really are somebody who has your hands and your feet on the ground, working hard, and just appreciate the leadership of the board and everything you do in the community. I know you're actively involved, so I'll speak on behalf of everybody today and just say thank you for all that. I feel really fortunate to work for the city of Rockford, and for our next guest, Mayor Tom McNamara has done incredible work, really bringing our community together since he's been mayor, and recognizing always that our best asset is our people. So if you will welcome my boss and our mayor, Mayor Tom McNamara, he's going to share a proclamation with us. Mayor.
Thank you so much, Wester, for all the work that you do and being the MC today. A huge thank you to David, as well as Danielle and the entire NAMI organization, specifically their board that has done so much. This is a difficult year for sure. And before I read the proclamation, I think it is important that we take stock in the good things that are transpiring. Number one, we were able, with tremendous assistance from many of those who are gathering today virtually, we were able to pass a mental health tax in our community. This is significant to move our mental health efforts forward. We are working actively right now to change how the city of Rockford responds to mental health crisis calls. And I think over the next couple of weeks, you will see a brand new way that the city of Rockford addresses mental health crisis calls for service. And I think through these efforts and so many more, and through rallies and the Mental Health Awareness Week work that's being done, we're beginning to change the conversation, change the dialogue, and truly stopping the stigma that is often so foolishly associated with mental health. So it is my honor to be with you today and to say thank you to all those who make this possible, especially the committee that has helped put this together. So without further ado, I'd like to read a proclamation on behalf of Mental Illness Awareness Week. Whereas mental health is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, and whereas we all experience times of difficulty and stress in our lives, and whereas prevention is an effective way to reduce the burden of mental health conditions, and whereas there is a strong body of research that supports specific tools that everyone can use to better handle challenges and protect their health and well-being. And whereas mental health conditions are real and prevalent in our city, and with early and effective treatment, those individuals can recover and lead full, productive lives. And whereas each business, each school, government agency, healthcare provider, organization, and citizen shares the burden of mental health problems and has a responsibility to promote mental wellness and support prevention efforts. So now, therefore, I, Thomas P. McNamara, as Mayor of the City of Rockford, do proclaim October 4th through the 10th of 2020 to be Mental Illness Awareness Week. And again, just a huge thank you to NAMI and the entire team that's come together to celebrate this very important week. And I'll turn it back to Wester.
All right, thank you, sir. And I think I will also say on behalf of our community, we just appreciate your leadership. You're not just saying this really, but you're the kind of leader we need right now. And I think we all appreciate your compassion and your support for so many areas of our community. So we have a special performance coming up next, a virtual performance, as you will. I'm going to introduce the performance that's been done by Carl Cole. And Maestro Carl Cole, also known as Mr. C by most in our community, is the last of 7 talented siblings who performed in the Northern Illinois region with their mother as the Singing Coles in the mid-60s and 70s. Never having formal lessons, he acknowledges that his talents have come from God. Now, after 4 decades of playing the piano and singing and composing and arranging, teaching and directing, Mr. C has secured a life and legacy of love through music, arts, and ministry. He is the founder and CEO of Sounds of Good News Productions, through which he gives excellence in performance and recording productions. And he also provides a wide range of diverse music for public and private events and projects. So now we offer this musical prayer, God Bless America, composed by Irving Berlin in 1918, arranged and performed with singing and grand piano by Professor Carl Cole of Sounds of Good News Production and the Young Eagles Success, that's yes, Club Youth Charity.
God bless America. Guide
Wow, that's pretty incredible for a virtual performance. So thank you, Carl, Mr. C, and everything that you and your group and friends and family have done and continue to do for our community. We really appreciate it. What a way to really get this event rolling. So we are really fortunate today to have with us 7 speakers who are going to share their stories and some of their personal perspectives on mental health. And so what I will do is I will go ahead and introduce each one of them. They're going to talk, and then after they complete, we'll move on through this group of 7, and I know you're going to find them inspiring and powerful. Our first speaker is Marianne Abadi. Marianne is a licensed Illinois social worker who obtained her MS in community mental health from Southern New Hampshire University. She also received a graduate certificate in clinical services to individuals with co-occurring substance abuse and psychiatric disabilities from Southern New Hampshire University. Marianne began at the Janet Wattles Mental Health Center in 1982, where she previously served as director, and then she most recently served as Rosecrance's Vice President of Community Mental Health and Public Policy. It is really my honor to introduce Marianne Abadi.
Well, thank you so much, Wester, and I'm just so honored to be with this group today. As you can tell by my background, that I have a passion for mental illness, and as a result of that today, I am fortunate enough to be the president of the Winnebago County Mental Health Board. And that board came into existence in March of this year. And I'm going to be sharing highlights of the work that we've done up to date, because we really want to let the community know all of the exciting things that possibly will be coming forward in this community to break down barriers to access of mental health and substance abuse services. And we want to be as transparent as possible as a board so that the community can offer input on a constant basis. And to that end, I will begin to share some highlights. As I said, the inaugural board meeting was held in March, and at that time there were 9 board members announced by Chairman Haney. And in April, he appointed 2 additional board members that were at large. And just because this board is really, I think, critical entity now in making sure mental health and substance abuse services expand in our community, I just want to introduce the board by name, myself, and then Dick Kunert and Dr. Edward Copeland, Danielle Angelari, and Linda Stanquist, Dr. Terry Giardini, Dr. Bill Gorski, and Dr. Julie Morris. And in addition, we have 2 advisors, Wendy Bennett Larson and Jay Ware. And I can promise you, we have been very diligent and steadfast in our focus. We actually developed an environmental scan in June, the survey questions, and I know that many of you that are listening, or maybe the participant speakers, received this survey. It was over 200 questions, and the goal is to find out the current services, both in mental health and substance abuse, that are being offered in Winnebago County, because we want to make sure that we identify gaps and any barriers, and within the barriers, we want to make sure that people of all incomes, especially low incomes, are able to access every mental health and substance abuse service that they need. Interestingly, we have now been receiving, and did for the most part receive, a third of the surveys that were completed totally. So it is statistically, the data is going to help us a great deal. It's considered a successful survey, and we can already see as we're compiling and analyzing the data that we're going to be able to focus on some very needed services for both mental health and substance abuse in our community. And this survey went out to public as well as private entities. So we have a very comprehensive, data results from the survey. We also have been busy because we had to develop our work plan, our budget for 21. And at this time, we will be looking at approximately $8 million for RFP funding. This funding, the RFP funding will, the RFPs will go out in January. We will allow 6 weeks for interested providers to send back proposals, and funding of the proposals should be starting in April. This is all very exciting because without the referendum, the sales tax referendum passing, the half cent to support mental health and substance abuse, as Mayor McNamara referred to, we would not have this funding. So I just want to congratulate the residents of Winnebago County. 62%, well over 62% of you voted for this referendum. And in this environment, sales tax, any tax, is not a popular referendum item. So I just want to congratulate all of you. So if you also, we have a web page, and it's listed on the Winnebago County website. So if in fact you would like to gain up-to-date information, please access that website. But, and we also want your input. Our meetings are public. They're actually being streamed through Regional Planning R1, and the public is welcome to attend if they so choose to view the meeting. We will be, starting next month, we will have our YouTube streaming going on for every public meeting, and all our meetings are public. So I just want to thank you for the opportunity to be with all of you today and to update you on the exciting progress that the Mental Health Board is making. And I want to congratulate NAMI for a wonderful week, Mental Health Awareness Week. Thank you all.
Well, thank you, Mary Ann, and thank you just on behalf of the community for all of your leadership with the Mental Health Board. And you know, I think if you look at the expertise and the experience of that board, that is probably one of the strongest boards that I think have ever been assembled in this community. And in terms of just appropriateness of experience and levels of commitment and professional experience. And I think we're really going to see some fantastic things. So thank you, Mary Ann, for that, and really are looking forward to the work of the board. Our next speaker is Brian Knight. Brian grew up in a small town in Wisconsin and has always appreciated the need for family and community. He had his own battle with addiction and mental health, and his story led him to seek treatment in Utah in 2015. After completing that treatment, Brian decided to continue his care in the Utah community, and it's there where he started to find his purpose. Through different work with sober gyms, sober sports, and support groups, Brian began to realize a passion for helping others. He began working at Aqua Recovery as the alumni director in 2017. And then in the spring of 2018, he had a strong desire to be closer to his family, as well as help bring resources to the people of the Midwest. He transitioned to an outreach and admissions role, helping passionate individuals who are struggling as he leads them in their journey of recovery. Brian, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. For someone who struggles with mental health, man, I'm feeling a lot of anxiety right now, but I'm extremely happy to be a part of this. I've been working with NAMI for about a year now, helping run different support groups for teens and young adults who struggle with mental health. I really have a desire to help be a voice for those who maybe can't put words to how they feel. You know, if I'm on both ends of the spectrum, from somebody who suffered myself and now from the professional side of things. What I do for a daily living now is I work for Aqua Recovery. We're a program, a treatment center out in Utah where I really enjoy it. They give me the flexibility to focus more on the core issues of what an individual is struggling with, you know, anxiety, depression, trauma. We really focus deeply on those through different clinical works, as well as holistically. We really believe in how you take care of yourself as a person, how that overall affects your mental health, as well as getting connected with the community. What that looks like for me in present day. So currently I'm a father of two. My youngest son was born on my 4-year sobriety date, so really good things have happened. 2020 has been an extremely difficult year, but for me, it's been one of my best years. And I attribute that to just learning throughout my recovery and applying that to what I have, because what I know is isolation is the absolute worst thing for me. When I'm isolating and I'm in my house, I'm in my head. And when I'm in my head, nothing good happens from that. I need people. So whether that's Zoom meetings, picking up the phone, going for jogs, doing different socially distancing events, whatever I can do to surround myself with positive people, that's what I want. That's what's going to help me most. Sitting by myself is definitely not going to do that. Through what I really want to accomplish in the Rockford community, because I live in Rockford now, as Wester said, I want to be closer to home, and I have that opportunity now. I'm before 2020, I planned on opening up a sober community center where we focus on exercise, creative expression, service projects for a group of people. It doesn't matter the age, doesn't matter what you're struggling with, where you can come and feel supported. You feel like you're surrounded by other like-minded individuals who want to accomplish the same things as you, and just be a listening ear while we engage in different activities, whether it be, going hiking in the parks, or, serving the homeless, or just doing different things to help just feel like you're a part of, right? Because I remember what it's like to feel real dark and be in that dark spot of not feeling like you have anyone, not feeling like you're loved. I come from a very broken home. Both my parents struggled with alcoholism, and especially as a young adult, I didn't really have a lot of direction on where I wanted to go in my life. And it wasn't until I ultimately sought treatment that I was able to start working on myself first. And now I get to be a part of helping others and helping other people recovery in their journey of recovery, and ultimately working on mental health, because it's a daily battle. Even for me today, it's a daily battle, and I just want to keep helping. So I'm always available. I'm always somebody who's willing to pick up the phone. I'm always somebody who's willing to meet with you when appropriate, whatever I can do to help. So thank you so much, Wester and Danielle, for having me. I really enjoyed being part of this.
Thank you, Brian, for sharing that story. And as somebody who uses exercise and training to really help keep me mentally healthy, I appreciate your vision and ideas about the role that gyms and sports can play to help people manage their mental health. So really appreciate it, and just appreciate you taking that risk, as you said, and sharing your story today. So fantastic job. Our next speaker is Kelly Duncan. And for the last 17 years, a public school teacher, Kelly Duncan, has strived to incorporate social emotional learning into her teaching. Last spring, she chaired a local high school event that brought in over 40 top community professionals to help students connect with their social and emotional needs. The event provided the entire student body with resources surrounding a variety of mental health topics. Kelly, we'll turn it over to you.
Hi, thanks for having me. Okay, so I'm here today to talk about a mental health initiative that I helped implement at the high school level for the past few years. I want to say in the last 6 or 7 years, there has been a significant shift in the need to implement trauma-informed teaching into our practice. It has been very obvious that our students are in need of much more specialized experiences to help meet their social and emotional needs. Since the beginning of my career, my teaching philosophy has remained the same. I focus on the whole child, not just their academic needs. I have found that building those strong relationships and establishing trust is what makes the kids feel safe. For me, this is where the magic happens. When the kids feel safe, they grow exponentially in all areas, socially, emotionally, and then obviously academically as well. So learning about being trauma-informed was nothing really new to me, probably because I've actually experienced some pretty heavy trauma in my own life. Part of the training introduced the ACEs survey, which stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. This 10-question survey provides kind of a snapshot of different traumas that can have a significant impact in the lives of students. One study had actually found that an adult with an ACE score of 4 or more was significantly at greater risk for many behavioral, physical, and other mental health issues later in life. My ACE score is a 6, so this is something I could easily identify with. The score alone that I had without a resiliency piece to combat the effects could have predicted that I would die actually 20 years prematurely. So that connected empathy that I have for students who have had similar experiences pushed me to do something more and be more proactive in our approach. I had to ask myself, what could I give the kids that would have been helpful to me in my times of struggle? So the event that I had put together at the high school provided students with an entire afternoon of mental health training. We titled the event Courage Over Comfort and used this as our central theme for the day. All students had the opportunity to sign up for sessions. The sessions were arranged under 3 major umbrella categories, which were, we had mental health, healthy relationships, and then also mindfulness. So within these categories, I was able to secure over 45 community volunteers and experts in their fields, some of which are part of this meeting today. Each presenter was able to present to 3 different groups of students. Knowing some of these topics could be very heavy, I felt that it was important to include opportunities that centered more around positive self-care options as well. The students also attended a large session with a keynote speaker. Both of the years of the event, my keynote also happened to be a graduate of the high school, and I think this helped make the experience more meaningful for the students. So the feedback that we had received from everyone was pretty amazing. Other schools in the community have actually reached out to me to help bring something similar to their school because they see that there is a definite need for it too. And I'm also just so thankful that this entire group of kids had this chance to get some extra support and some resources just a week before the lockdown happened. The event was held on March 4th. I feel like it may have truly helped some kids who were struggling because it was so impactful. And it gave them some resources heading into such unknown territory for all of us. So if you have any further questions about the event, please feel free to reach out to me. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for that, Kelly. And I think as on a couple of notes, as a parent of a high school, of 2 high school students in public schools, just appreciate you and all your fellow teachers and the amazing work you've had to do since last spring and now into the new year, new school year. And we really can't say thank you enough for that. And then for also this work to help develop these programs. So it's absolutely vital for our young people to have that support at an early age. So thank you for everything that you've done and continue to do. We really appreciate it. Our next speaker is somebody that I am fortunate to interact with occasionally in my daily job. Assistant Deputy Chief of Police Mike Dahlke began his career at the Rockford Police Department in 1997 after graduating from McMurray College with an undergraduate degree in education and history. Chief Dahlke has worked in various capacities in the department, including as a field training officer, special weapons and tactics team member, and an officer assigned to the Rockford Housing Authority unit. In 2006, the chief was promoted to investigator and assigned to the training unit where he earned his master's degree in education from St. Xavier University. He was promoted to sergeant in 2009 and then appointed to his current role as assistant deputy chief in 2013. Since then, he has graduated from Northwestern University's School of Public Safety and from the FBI's National Academy in Quantico, Virginia. Assistant Deputy Chief Dahlke will be discussing the co-responder model to individuals suffering from crisis and the work that's ongoing with the police department in that area. So I will turn it over to Chief Dahlke. Thank you.
Thank you, Wester. Thanks for having me, guys, today. I apologize. I am out of uniform and not at the station today. My wife is actually teaching, and I am home with my girls today. So if you hear any screaming or yelling or some Barbies that roll past my head, that is them, and I apologize for that. So I wanted to talk a little bit about today, well, some of the initiatives that the police department has been working on with some other groups, other organizations to assist in our response to those in crisis. And we've been looking at a co-responding or a co-responder model, meaning that the police department on a day-to-day basis gets numerous calls in some capacity about dealing with someone in crisis, whether or not it may be a suicide attempt, a legitimate suicide where the person we're responding to is already deceased and we're then trying to deal with the family. We also will deal with several other type of mental illness issues throughout the day. And these calls come in on a daily basis. And just to get kind of an idea, as a patrol supervisor or as a patrolman, that is something that you are prepared to deal with. And I've been to numerous calls throughout my career where we've had to de-escalate situations involving those in crisis. Majority of those situations end up with very little to no force being used at all. And there's been some times where we've had to use force on individuals. And so looking at that co-responder model is really a means of trying to reduce any further escalation, any use of force when we go to calls dealing with someone in crisis. So just to kind of give you an idea of how that would look, because majority of the questions that I do get is, what's the co-responder model? How does it look? How does it fit within the police department and within the community? And so just to give you a broad idea, now we've been meeting on with multiple organizations. I know the mayor, and I'm sure Wester's involved. They're going to do a press release this coming Wednesday on this model. And so I'm sure the mayor will be able to talk more specifically about that. But just to kind of give you a little bit of background about what we've been doing for this group. So the co-responder model really is going to pair officers from the Rockford Police Department, Winnebago County Sheriff's Department is going to be involved as well. And we're going to have dedicated officers who have a background in CIT training, our critical incident team training, where they spend 40 hours learning about how to deal with people in crisis and learning about those experiencing some mental illness. And so those officers who have this training, who have a lot of experience, they're going to be senior officers, those who have been on the department for a long time, and we're going to pair them up. And part of their normal duties is going to respond to calls that may be beyond the capacity for a patrol officer to deal with. Again, we have a very young police department. We have a lot of younger officers responding to these types of calls. They do receive some training at the academy. They do receive some training when they come back from the academy here before they hit the streets. But sometimes they may have questions and they may be unsure. So these officers are going to assist in those calls to help guide those officers and make sure that we're conducting ourselves and looking at the best practices on how to deal with someone who's in crisis. We're also going to respond with and have the availability to call out counselors, licensed counselors, who will come out and then also help us walk through some of the steps that we can do to help mitigate any type of escalation of force. If we could take someone and get them the help they need without having to ever place hands on someone, that's the great day for us. And we're going to do that as much as we can. The last thing that we want to do is be able to have to go to a situation and then use force, because anytime we do that, there's a risk. And part of my job, as well as the other commanders within the organization, is how do we mitigate risk? And that is one of the ways we're going to do that. So that kind of gives you a little bit of a framework about how that will be. Now, if they're not responding to calls throughout the day, they will be looking at and following up with those who may be higher at risk, those who maybe call more often than others. And so they will be working in tandem with our licensed practitioners, going out and making sure that those people are getting their medication, that they're receiving services, and that they are up to speed on what they need to be doing to be healthy, to be well. And our officers are going to respond to that. So we're looking at bringing in many organizations that are out there. It's just not going to be the Rockford Police Department and the Winnebago County Sheriff's Department. We're bringing in other entities like the fire department. They respond to calls with us on several types of calls. We want to be able to bring them in and have those discussions. As this program grows, we will be piloting it here relatively soon, where we're actually going to have officers starting out in the street and working in that capacity. There's a lot of other things that I don't want to put the cart before the horse yet, or get my boss upset with me because I'm talking too much about what we have planned on. I know the mayor again will be coming out and having an official press release on Wednesday about the program. So it's very exciting about that. As a commander and as a sergeant, and of having to work in many capacities within the police department, this is something that, again, I'm very excited about. It is definitely going to help ease the officers' feelings when they're going to calls and trying to deal with the unknown. Because as many of you know, when we respond to those calls regarding someone in crisis, there's a lot of unknown variables. There's a lot of things that you don't know what's going to happen, and you want to make sure that everyone goes home safe at the end of the day. So I'm very excited about getting this up and running. Again, so a lot of stuff to come on this. It's just on the tip of our tongues and putting it out there, and the program coming out. So again, very excited about this. I know Xavier had reached out to me a few weeks ago and asked that I just kind of touch some base on what we're doing and what to expect in the upcoming weeks.
All right. Thank you, Chief. Just appreciate all the work of you and your team. I'm glad to see that we didn't see any Barbies flying past the screen. So
well, I got them locked down in the basement. So.
That's good. But really, yeah, we are excited about this pilot program. As you mentioned, the mayor will be part of a news conference on Wednesday, so the public will begin to hear a lot more about this. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I appreciate having me on. Thanks, everyone.
Sure. Well, our next speaker today is Jay Swanson, and he is many things. He's a son, a brother, a friend, a counselor in training, and a transgender man. Through the help of the Liam Foundation, he was able to legally change his name last summer, and he has continued to stay involved with the organization now as a member of their committee. He's passionate about decreasing the stigma surrounding both mental illness and being able to live an authentic life. And through his openness about being a trans man, Jay has started conversations with those in his life about what it means to be authentic and live as a transgender person. He brings these passions into his future career as a counselor who hopes to make a difference in the lives of LGBTQ+ people. He's striving to be an advocate and an educator for those who need it. So I want to introduce Jay Swanson.
All right, thank you, Wester. So today I am going to be talking a little bit about the Liam Foundation. But before I start that, I do want to mention another organization in the Rockford area, and that's PFLAG. So PFLAG's mission is to create a society in which all LGBTQ people of any age may feel safe and enjoy freedom in every aspect of their lives. So they hold monthly meetings, and they also have some support groups. And with PFLAG and the Liam Foundation, both were started and are managed by Phyllis Gallifat. And for the Liam Foundation, going into their mission, that is to encourage, assist, heal, and empower our LGBTQIA+ community through respect, advocacy, and passionate hearts to promote thriving in society. So the Liam Foundation offers kind of a variety of services. One of them would be legal name changes. Another is organizing and kind of providing access to hormone replacement therapy. They also connect trans people with transition equipment. So that could be, you know, binders for trans men, or, you know, shapewear or wigs for trans women. And they also connect people to various services in the community, whether that be therapy, or, you know, they also offer support groups. And so in talking about what the Liam Foundation is doing to help support LGBTQ people's mental health in the Rockford area, I want to say a few things. So the first one would be that a big source of distress for trans people can be being misgendered, that is, being called the wrong pronouns, or being called the wrong name. And this really can take a toll on mental health. Speaking from my own experience, you know, before everyone kind of saw me as Jay, you know, I was being referred to with my birth name and being misgendered, and that really can be distressing. And when I changed my name legally this summer, that really was a boost in my confidence, you know, to be able to look at my ID and see that the name on there reflects my true identity, like who I really am. And yeah, like it reflects how I see myself. And, you know, in terms of other areas, being able to have my name change makes things like going to the doctor a lot easier. Because before that, you know, I looked like a man, but I was still being referred to as a woman. So in that aspect, like, changing names is one of the examples of how the Liam Foundation can help support the mental health of LGBTQ folks. And one last thing I do want to mention is, you know, LGBTQ folks, especially trans people, are certainly more susceptible to mental illness. There is a large rate of suicide from transgender people. And so that is why, you know, using the correct name and pronouns is, in a way, suicide prevention. Because if people are having the wrong pronouns used for them, you know, that really starts to affect how they see themselves and the fact that they're not being seen for who they really are. So yeah, so that is a little bit of an overview about the Liam Foundation. If you want to reach out to them, you can reach them on their Facebook page at the Liam Foundation, just search that on Facebook, or you can go to their website, www.theliamfoundation.org. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay, and just really appreciate you sharing your story and for all the work that you're doing to help others and your advocacy with both the Liam Foundation and with PFLAG. Really, the community is stronger because of everything you're doing, so thank you. So our next speaker is Kevin Polke, and with more than 30 years of experience, Kevin Polke is amply qualified to oversee KP Counseling as both the founder and executive director. He's a licensed clinical social worker, a certified alcohol and drug counselor, a certified school social worker, an executive coach, and a former football and strength coach and personal trainer. He's worked with individuals, families, and organizations in areas of Illinois and Wisconsin, and he currently works with individual clients and their families at KP Counseling. He also facilitates 3 men's groups, conducts workshops and seminars, and serves as a consultant to numerous businesses, schools, and churches. About 10 years ago, he founded Four Corners Wellness, which has evolved into a company that produces workshops and trainings, business consulting, and executive coaching. And 4 years ago, in 2016, Kevin founded Shatter Our Silence, which is a nonprofit organization to increase awareness and education on the factors that lead to suicide in young adults. So I'll turn it over to Kevin Polke.
Thank you, Wester, and just want to say again, thank you for everyone who's participating in this today, and NAMI for leading the charge in this and the support from Mayor McNamara. As Wester just mentioned, I've been in the counseling field for over 30 years and a social worker for 25 years. My backstory was a competitive athlete. So similar to what Brian had mentioned, I have a passion for athletics, as well as the benefit of how exercise can help us and how it can transform us. So when I started down the counseling road, it really started out being just wanting to help people. And quickly I found out that there was a stigma around mental illness as a whole and counseling. And so part of what I realized as I was going down this field of being a counselor and then later, more specifically, a social worker, is that I wanted to, what could I do to normalize being able to ask for help when we're in this darkness of struggling with either mental illness or different forms of mental illness? How can we normalize this and break that stigma? And then how can we move that it's not just a time when we're hurting, but similar to going to the gym, that you go there to improve your mental and emotional health. So that was really a big part of what I wanted to do early on in my career. In 2001, I opened up KP Counseling. My original goal was to have an outpatient solo practice. In other words, I wanted to have a job. So that's how it originally started. But I've been very fortunate in the last 19 years of KP, of leading that and allowing it to grow and develop, that we now have 32 clinical therapists that work there. And on an average, we're seeing and serving about 800 clients per week. And that is a big part of what we're trying to do, either helping individuals with addiction, a variety of forms of mental illness, trauma, as well as grief. And so those 32 individuals are really the backbone of KP as well as our support staff. And again, this idea of how do we normalize counseling and break the stigma around counseling, as well as being able to seek help for mental illness. Again, we're constantly trying to make this an easier process in which to get that help that people need. In 2016, going back a little bit farther, actually it was in October of 2015, my son and I were at a funeral. It was the third of his classmates. He had a class of about 100, and it was the third funeral of his classmates that died as a result of suicide. Sitting there and being with him and being with his classmates and the family and seeing the ripple effect of this young adult dying from suicide, as well as the two other classmates that had died from suicide, I knew that I had to do something more than just being a social worker, just being a counselor. So I reached out to Xavier Whitford and reached out to some other members of the community and some businesses. And we sat around asking, what could we do? What can we do to make more of a difference? And that is really where, in the process of interviewing students at Rockford University and getting an idea of what we should call this, that's where we came up with the idea of Shatter Our Silence. And it really was the idea of how can we shatter all of our silence and stigma around the factors that lead to young adult suicide. So that was what we did at that time. We had a rally in 2016. Later, it formed into a nonprofit. Our focus and our mission is to raise awareness and educate young adults, their significant others, and the professionals that work with them on the factors that lead to young adult suicide. Since that time period in 2016, we have been fortunate enough to be able to educate close to 15,000 middle, high school, and college age students on the factors and warning signs of young adult suicide, and what, and most importantly, what they can do to help themselves as well as help their friends. Not only at KP, but also at SOS, we believe that we all have a light within us. We believe that depression and other forms of mental illness can cause us to be engulfed in that darkness and lead to a hopelessness and despair. What we're asking each of you and everyone is, will you choose to be a light in others' darkness? Thank you very much for allowing me to be part of this movement, and thank you for being part of this movement to shatter our silence around suicide and mental illness. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kevin. And we really appreciate just the work you're doing, especially as you talk about with the young people in our community. It's just absolutely vital. And it's, again, not to go back to my own story, but as somebody who's got two teens, you know, and anybody who's on this who's a parent knows that we have so many things to worry about these days with our kids, and you know, and certainly things that our parents never had to deal with that we're now dealing with children. So just really appreciate that you and your team have recognized that, and that you're working to keep our kids safe and mentally healthy and provide them support. So thank you for all of that. Our final speaker today is Jeanette Towns. She is a mother of 2 and a grandmother of 6. She is a Rockford native. She was diagnosed with a mental illness in 1995, and she has lived that experience. She went from a client to a full-time employee in the mental health field following her recovery. She's now a full-time mental health advocate and activist who specializes in public speaking and mental health education. She also does one-on-one encounters to assist people on their journeys by using NAMI as a resource. And she has been a part of the organization for about a year now. So really excited to welcome Jeanette Towns.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeanette Towns. I am a mother of 2 wonderful daughters. One is a nurse and the other is a business owner. I have 6 active grandchildren ranging in age from 2 through 12, 3 boys and 3 girls. I am an avid cook. I prepare meals for my family and friends on a weekly basis. I am very close to both my parents and my daughters. We are in contact daily. I am a mental health advocate and activist. In 1995, I experienced some medical malpractice. I was then diagnosed with bipolar disorder. Prior to that, I had bouts of depression going back to my childhood. I didn't have a name for it back then. I thought I was just sad. I was withdrawn at times as a child. At other times, I was able to enjoy a normal range of emotions. As I look back, I can now see that I was often anxious or fearful. I can remember a feeling of dread or doom. My family life was normal and what I would consider void of trauma. My feelings of sadness, dread, or doom were all internal, not necessarily related to external happenings. As the medical malpractice occurred in 1995, I subsequently experienced my very first manic episode. I was in the ER having a small stroke, known medically as a TIA. I remember being lively and animated as I laid there. The doctor yelled out to the nurse, "She's unraveling." This first episode landed me in a mental health facility. I was offered a strong mood stabilizer. I was surrounded by my then husband and children. I read the paperwork with the side effects. I respectfully declined. That facility shut down permanently a few days later. I was one of the last patients. Because of the closure, I was discharged with no follow-up care. What followed was 7 to 10 years of no medicine, no treatment, and no clue as to what was happening to me. I was a disaster going somewhere to happen. My behavior was so bizarre that I actually frightened my family and my inner circle. I experienced wild mood swings. They range from manic to depressed with everything in between. One minute, I was extremely happy, but moments later, I could be totally irritated by the smallest thing. I often was unable to sleep for days at a time. I would stay up at night cleaning things that were already cleaned. Music had to be loud. I began to dress differently, like I was a completely different person. On one occasion, I emptied out the family bank account on a trip to a casino. I was seemingly unable to stop gambling that day. I had many periods of hypersexuality. I exhibited risky behavior with multiple partners. I was homeless by choice a few times, leaving my spouse of 18 years and my children to live on the streets with unsavory characters. While manic, I divorced my first husband and I married my second husband twice because I also divorced him while I was manic. I was in and out of jail, in and out of various hospitals, in and out of my right mind. During my last stint in jail, I was deemed unfit to stand trial. I was remanded to a state mental facility in the forensics unit. I was there for a 4-month stay. I was finally given meds that worked. While there, I took note of the staff. They cared for the clients. They were attentive. I decided that I wanted to work in the mental health field if they would have me. Upon my release in February of 2004, I began the difficult work of recovery. I faithfully took my meds twice a day under the supervision of the local treatment facility staff. I had intensive case management. Upon recovery, I was offered a full-time position taking care of 8 mentally ill clients a day. That was my best job ever. After exiting the workforce, I began to hide my story due to stigma and profound shame. Last fall, I was strongly urged to tell my story publicly. As a result, I became a mental health advocate and activist. I joined NAMI. I began to do public speaking. When COVID hit, my speaking switched to online. All of my family relationships have been restored. I help people through my private Facebook page entitled Eliminating Mental Health Stigma. I'm living a life of peace and fulfillment now. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanette, for sharing that incredible story. And I think just as important, all the work that you're doing now to help others. So we really appreciate it. And you certainly are making an incredible difference. And that's really appreciate all of our 7 speakers today. You all shared pretty incredible stories that were powerful and enlightening. And for some of you, you were taking a personal risk by doing that. And so really on behalf of the committee and everybody who's watching today, thank you for doing that. And thank you for the impact you're having in our community. You're all doing different things, but you're all making a tremendous impact. So the next part of our program, I want to just share a brief parable with you. And I think you may have heard this at last year's event if you attended, but I think it's still just as powerful today. One day, an old man was walking along a beach that was littered with thousands of starfish. As he walked, he came upon a young boy who was eagerly throwing the starfish back into the ocean, one by one. Puzzled, the man looked at the boy and said, "What are you doing?" The boy simply replied, "I'm saving these starfish, sir." The old man chuckled aloud. "Son, there are thousands of starfish and only one of you. What difference can you make?" Well, the boy picked up a starfish, gently tossed it into the water, and turned to the old man and said, "I made a difference to that one." That's really a simple, powerful story. I think it illustrates that all of us who are on our journey, we really have an opportunity to make the world a better place. It doesn't matter if your actions or your words or your work affect one starfish or thousands of starfish. It's just as important. And anything we can do to make a positive impact on someone's life is absolutely critical. So in that spirit, each year NAMI recognizes outstanding achievements in our community and celebrates accomplishments made both by individuals and organizations that advance NAMI's mission to improve the lives of people affected by mental illness and their loved ones. Now, I'm going to read the names of our nominees for this year's award winners, and then NAMI Executive Director Danielle Angelari will announce these. So the individuals who are nominated this year for the Making a Difference Award are Tom Davis, Mary Gubby Lee, Annie Hose Ryan, the Liam Foundation, Marissa Ebert with Hope Family Counseling, Tammy Stewart, Stepping Stones of Rockford, Kevin Polkey, Kishla Jones, Carly Rice from Miss Carly's, Shannon Kopp, Xavier Whitford, Rosecrans Health Network, Joan Lodge, and Barb Rogers. So now I'm going to turn things over to Danielle, who will present the award winners. And before I do that, I just want to say thank you to Danielle for all of the work you do as Executive Director of NAMI. You're out there on the front lines, and then very often you're behind the scenes. So I know everybody here who's attending the event today really appreciate everything you do, and we can't say thank you enough. So thank you.
Thank you, Esther. You're making me blush. What an amazing group of people you just announced. I'm honored to tell you all the winners today. So I'm going to read a little bit of the narratives that were sent to us, and the 5 recipients are, I will begin with Kushla Jones. Kushla was nominated because she is an inspiration with her dedication to her job at Stepping Stones of Rockford. Kushla is kind and patient. She often volunteers to work overtime and picks up extra tasks many times without even being asked. She has a sharp eye for seeing people and situations where she can help and freely offers her assistance. Kushla's presence is always welcoming and non-judgmental. She speaks up when she sees something concerning and makes suggestions to solve problems and improve efficiency. She is calm under pressure and is seen as an invaluable asset to her team. Congrats, Kushla. The next winner is Marissa Ebert. Marissa has a huge heart to help and encourage everyone she comes in contact with to live life to the fullest. She is a beautiful example of embracing your uniqueness and is using it to connect with others in a powerful way. She not only does this through the goodness of yoga at Alt Yoga, but Marissa is an amazing therapist who goes out of her way to help those struggling to feel heard and understood. Congrats. Our next winner is the Liam Foundation. The Liam Foundation works tirelessly to help and assist those in the LGBTQ+ community get connected to resources. They provide support, mentoring, financial assistance, professional development trainings to other organizations, and so much more. Those of the Liam Foundation go out of their way to help the LGBTQ+ community feel loved, accepted, and understood, and they are a much needed ministry in our city. Congratulations to you guys, and thank you for presenting today. Our next winner is Tammy Stewart. Tammy began her career at Sinisippi Centers in 2002. Since that time, Tammy completed her bachelor's, master's, and attained her licensed clinical professional counselor credential. She is a certified RAP facilitator, DBT certified, and is a mental health first aid instructor. While those credentials are wonderful, Tammy's true gifts lie in her ability to motivate and inspire others. Tammy has taken many roles: motivational cheerleader during periods of state budget cuts, spearheading an initiative to restructure and better the way that residential services are provided, and in recent years, she has been instrumental in the formation of a CST program and is the primary influencer in Sinisippi's peer programming. Under Tammy's leadership, staff feel empowered to make a difference. She models empathy and is a supportive leader who truly puts the needs of clients first with a smile on her face. Congratulations. And finally, Shannon Kopp. Shannon is the Mobile Integrated Healthcare Manager at Rockford Fire. As part of her position, Shannon runs the Knock and Talk program, where she follows up with all the patients who have come in contact with Rockford Fire because of an overdose. She brings her patients a Narcan kit and answers any questions that they may have. Shannon has a way of making her patients feel at ease. She is able to provide comfort and understanding for her patients' circumstances while delivering vital information that may save their life or the life of someone they know. Shannon inspires others through her deep commitment to the underserved population who live in our community. She is a constant and calming professional presence and much deserving of this wonderful award. Congratulations, everyone. I will be in touch with all of you that won, so I can give you your shiny new plaque. And I just wanted to say thank you to Wester for emceeing, Mayor McNamara, all of our speakers today, Xavier Whitford as our Mental Illness Awareness Week chair, and each and every person that's participated in our week of awareness events. Thank you for allowing us to count on you. With dedicated advocates like all of you, NAMI Northern Illinois will always be motivated to improve the quality of life for individuals impacted by mental illness. You give us the energy and the power that we need to make sure that everyone knows they're not alone. So thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. And, I just want to, before I turn it over to our final speaker, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to be here again and do this. I think this is the 3rd year I've done this now, and my life has truly improved by just being a part of this event and learning more about some of the things that are going on in our community when it comes to mental health and mental illness. And it's helped me kind of understand some of the issues that I've had and the issues that I've had in my family. So I am definitely not worthy to be on the screen, as it were, with all of the fantastic people here. It's really just my honor. So so thank you for that. Finally, today, I'm going to turn it over to Xavier Whitford. She is the chair of the Mental Illness Awareness Week Committee. And I think you all obviously know her. She does incredible work, both in her professional job here at the city of Rockford, but also in her work in the community that is absolutely making a difference every single day to hundreds of people in our community. So I will turn it over to her to close the event and kind of with a call to action. So Xavier, it's all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Wester. As the chair of Mental Illness Awareness Week, I have the honor to help plan all of these events for this important week. And I want to say thank you to our NAMI board for all of their support and trust in us as we put this together every year. I also want to thank those who served on the Mental Illness Awareness Week committee to help plan and coordinate all of this week's events. Thank you, Wester, for being an amazing MC. We truly appreciate you. You always do a great job, so thank you. I also want to thank all of our amazing speakers who I have the privilege to know and work alongside in our community. You all make a difference and you're all incredible people and advocates. This week has been a phenomenal week, and this has been a great closure to this week. If you haven't already, I want to encourage you to go to NAMI Northern Illinois' Facebook page or website and view the amazing stories, both written and videos that we've created and shared with you to help break the silence and stigma around mental illness and suicide. We encourage you to get involved, volunteer at some of these organizations you heard about today, donate, or do whatever you can to support so many amazing organizations and individuals working in our community. If all else fails, share your story, because sharing your story can help unlock other stories. And together we can start to break the stigma and silence around these topics. We hope that you enjoyed our program today, and we thank you for joining us. We hope you have a great rest of the day. Thank you.